Hello everyone, welcome to Truth and Law. My name is Konrad Rogoz, and this video will be a video directly for military and members of the armed forces. So I've never done this before. It's a bit of a new one, very specific video. I wanted to start with an introduction to kind of my work, like what I do. You probably have seen my stuff before if you're seeing this video, but the introduction I'm talking about is obviously I do the show This Week in Tyranny. I talk about natural law. I talk about the events that are going on, and I break them down in the background of through the lens of natural principles. But basically what I do, essentially what I'm trying to do here, I address the violence and injustice in this world. And I'm also about protecting women and children. That's one of my main things. And then also self-development, self-mastery. So those three things, that's a lot like somebody who joins the military who really wants to be there and joined it for some sort of deeper purpose or grand purpose. It's based in something like that, addressing the violence, going out to look at the violence that nobody's looking at, to protect the people, the innocent over here that can't protect themselves, and then to work on yourself, to build yourself up, self-mastery. So these are the type of things that I do, that I strive for in the way that I do it, right? So, and the things I discuss, the things I often talk about, I talk about the military a lot. It comes up a lot, yet I've never addressed them directly. So that's what I want to do in this video. I'm not going to make any bones about it. I'm usually critical of the military, of course. If you've seen any of my episodes, this is how it always goes, but because I'm talking about the institution, right? So, of course, I'm opposed to it. I'm opposed to the institution and who's running the institution currently. But this video is not about that. This video is talking to the people. I'm not talking to the institution or about the institution here. I'm talking to the people. And the people who may be catching my material, who are in the armed forces. This is for you. So this video is intended first and foremost to help the members of the armed forces by telling them the truth, letting them know the truth that people aren't telling them, because first, they don't know it. Most people don't know this. And second, they're afraid to tell them or are just not willing to tell them. They don't feel like they're in a position to be telling somebody something who's in the armed forces, right? So that's what I'm going to do. That's the first purpose. The second purpose is it's my hope. I hope so that it will show people the work that is where the work needs to be done, where people are truly needed in the world. I'll get to that later. Where are the armed forces really needed? Where's the war really going on in this world, right? So I'll talk about that. But first, I just want to underline, I haven't said this before. I haven't had really the opportunity to. So you might not know this about me, but me personally, I respect military tradition, right? This is something I have a lot of respect for. I respect military discipline. Not to mention just the attitude, the bravery to go out and do something that everybody else is not willing to do, right? And I respect sacrifice, obviously. The things I do with my time here on a small scale it's just on the mental level, what you guys do on the mental, emotional, and physical level, and actually go out and do. So the reason I'm saying that is not to present myself as if I'm some boots on the ground soldier like you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I resonate with what you resonate with a lot. There's just some differences why you're there and I'm here. But I want to jump right into the material. Enough with the introductions, and I'll jump right into a quote so you could see where I'm coming from. And this quote is by Henry Kissinger. He was the Secretary of State, and he was the National Security Advisor for 2 presidents. The quote is, "Military men are dumb, stupid animals to be used." That's what he said. He was talking to another official, like high-level advisors, right? The quote that is usually given is, "Military men are dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns in foreign policy." But what I just gave is the actual quote that you could actually find. He said this, right? People have heard this actually said. And I just give that quote just to say, hey, this is how the shot callers see you. That's not how I see you. That's not what I'm saying. But These are the people I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Henry Kissingers. Okay, they tell you that you're heroes, right? The world tells you you're heroes in the USA for certain. That's what they tell us back home. They tell us you're heroes. They do it in movies. They do it in, before the football games, before, during, and after the football games. But my question is, do they treat you like heroes? And I don't really know the answer to that, but you do. And I bet you the answer is no, they don't treat you like heroes. You know, do they treat you like heroes on a daily basis, or do they give you the bare minimum money and healthcare to justify you turning your life over and your family's life over to go overseas and sacrifice everything, right? You're over to the government, because we're not talking about a sacrifice for me, for the people. We're talking about a sacrifice to the government. Okay, does the government treat you like heroes for real? You know the answer to that. Look, the person at the grocery store will thank you for your service, right? Of course, I'm sure these things happen. Americans especially kind of have a high ingrained respect for military, right? So they'll thank you for your service. They might shake your hand, but will they really help you when you really need it? When you're ill, when the VA won't give you health care, when you're mentally ill, you know, anything that happens, you got an injury that happens as a result of PTSD, will that guy at the grocery store take your son to the park while you're away, right? While the other kids are playing with their fathers? They won't, right? So this is a lot of just talking, just nice slogans. That's what they're talking about with this hero stuff. Most people, when you really get down to it, they respect you because society says they have to. I don't know if they really resonate with the military, and if all the glittering generalities are taken away, you're going to come to find out you have very few allies in this world, right? And unfortunately, that's what it is. It's like the only support you guys have is each other, which is one of the big problems here, but I'll actually get to that. First, I want to talk about just the journey of someone in the armed forces, the military man, obviously man and woman. But let's talk about the military man, right? He is supposed to be a hero, like for real. But the modern day military man is a mercenary. He's not a hero, he's a mercenary and a pawn of powerful men, like Henry Kissinger said, and it shouldn't be that way. I'm not saying it has to be that way, it shouldn't be that way. The military man's journey is supposed to be a hero's journey. Okay? And the people running this world behind the scenes, they cannot have a large number of heroic men and women, because if they did, and we all discover what they actually do, then these heroes would stop them. If we had enough of you guys who knew the truth, we might actually stop these people. And this is the whole game, right? This is taking the people who would be heroes, who may undertake that hero's journey on their own, like I have, and then that creates a real problem, because those people are unstoppable, and you have the potential for that, right? So what they do is they redirect men and women with heroic qualities. They redirect them into the armed forces, because once you're in the force and you become part of a collective, chances are you're not going to come out of it because of the compartmentalization and the effects of the training, which I'm going to talk about. During training, I'll talk about it now. What do? They encourage those physical heroic skills, hard training, right? Hard, even sensory deprivation, all this stuff that you went through. Hard physical training, that physical heroism. But they bury mental and emotional heroic skills, because there is such a thing. There's such a thing as being emotionally heroic, facing the darkness within you, working through it, going to the origin of your traumas, right? Usually the childhood. That's being a hero emotionally. Mental heroism, being mentally heroic, which is what? It's looking at everything around you and getting yourself to a point where you're willing to sacrifice all of that for the truth. Not just follow illusions, not just stay in an idea because it doesn't cause you any damage. It's being willing to go into that pain and damage, right? Being willing to go into that mental war zone, which all of us who are making these videos, talking about truth, talking about freedom, These are the mental heroics that these people have demonstrated, right? So there's all three, and the hero should be trying to integrate all three. The hero's journey is emotions, thoughts, and actions, right? But during training, they destroy that. At least the other two. They at least destroy the non-physical ones. And the main way they do this is by destroying individuality. The main thing is individuality. The training to join the military destroys individuality, right? Each soldier should be his own man and woman who has conquered the darkness within himself, like I said. But they don't do that. You got, the same haircuts, the same motions, the same manner of speech, right? Everything is same. Why is it same? Well, the reason for this is not really that you will be less effective or efficient if you have your own clothes or your own hairstyle on the battlefield. I understand the tactical disadvantages of that, but that's not the real reason. Let's not be naive about this. It's not that you'll endanger your brothers and sisters in battle by not being in total unison, right? That's not the real reason. The reason is that the less individuated a person is, the less likely they are to refuse immoral orders. This is what it's all about. See, the more developed your individuality is, your character, the harder it is for them to get you to throw away your self-respect. Self-respect is the key here, right? And it is absolutely critical. It's critical for everyone to have self-respect, but for somebody in the military especially, it is critical for you to have self-respect. Because if you exist in an environment where you might have to take somebody's life at a moment's notice, you better have self-respect. Otherwise, you don't really know what you're taking. You don't know what you're taking away from the other person. Anybody could shoot anybody. And they do it in the streets. I'm from Chicago. They do it every day, right? But you don't really know what you're taking if you don't have the respect for human life, right? And the Henry Kissingers of the world, they don't want you to have self-respect. Why? Because if you respect yourself, then you won't go guard an opium field or bomb a school, right? But some of these members of the military will do that. The Wagner guys in Ukraine, they think of themselves as military too, but they're not like you, chances are. So what's the difference? What makes the difference? Is it just the government they're following? Well, the difference comes in is what is the point at which do they refuse the immoral order? Because the real immoral orders are coming. Now, I make the case that all of them are already immoral, right? Because you're working for the Henry Kissingers. But I'm bypassing that to really talk about the character and the individual, because in my past, I'm not somebody who was always holy, right? So I've done a lot of stuff that was immoral for me. I never followed anybody's orders. I actually did immoral stuff all by myself, just because that's how I was. I wanted to be like a little gangster. I wanted to be like a little drug dealer. So that's the kind of stuff I did, right? So it's not coming from a place of judgment or a place of being totally morally clean and lecturing people. That's not what I'm doing, right? I'm just talking about the psychology, just talking about the character, just talking about what a true military man and woman is, right? That true military man and woman has to have self-respect. And that crucial moment will be when the immoral order comes, and it is coming. And refusing the order will be the mark of a true soldier. That's how the true soldiers really will go down in history. Your name will not be on a little, I don't mean to downplay it or disrespect it. It won't be on the tombstone. It won't be on ribbons. It won't be at a memorial veterans monument. The names of the people who will refuse the immoral order and fight on the right side, they're going to be crossed out of history if we fail. And if we win, then really there won't need to be any more memorials or tombstones, but that's beside the point. You will get that immoral order. You will get the order to kill civilians and put them in camps, like concentration camps is what I'm saying. You will get the order to kill Americans. That's coming. Maybe not today, maybe not this year, maybe not in my lifetime, probably in my lifetime, but that's what the world is coming to, right? So if you're honest with yourself, then you know this world is spiraling downwards. I think anybody who's listening to this, who's actually in the armed forces, you could sense this now. You see it, it's spiraling downwards. I mean, look at your commander-in-chief, our commander-in-chief. Spiraling downwards and downwards into more control and slavery. And that's what's happening. And those guys, they send you to different countries, chasing the enemy all around the world, chasing. And no doubt, obviously it's true that there is all that evil in all those places, the places you're being sent to, no doubt. You're fighting against real bad people out there. That's the truth. But the real enemy that pulls the strings of both sides, and it puts the system in place. It puts the system in place for all that evil to continue and struggle against each other. The people who put that system into effect, they're somewhere up the chain of command, your chain of command. They're in those ranks. They're either your superiors or their superiors, or the foreign corporations that have no loyalty to any country or flag, who have bought and paid for the United States military services long ago. They've bought and paid for it, down to the commander-in-chief himself. These corporations, international corporations. I have ex-military people that are in my family. They know this. They told me this. So, the real enemy is the enemy of the human spirit. Not these people in different countries, although they may be bad people. The real enemy is the enemy of the human spirit, and they happen to write your checks. That's the truth. And when the time comes for that global system of slavery to fully come into effect, I'm talking about like a system akin to like North Korea, like a high-tech, westernized North Korea. This is the kind of system that's going to be in effect. And when that does happen, and it will happen, it will be shown, you will see that it will be the military who will be tasked to enforce it. The cops won't even be able to do it because they're too weak. This is not a video to police. Police are a separate thing to me in general, and I wouldn't even speak this way, because I've talked about the respect that I have for military. It's a bit different with police for me. So the military is going to be tasked with enforcing that, because you guys might actually have the balls to do that. But it won't be courage. It'll be bravery of you, but it won't be courage if you do not refuse that immoral order. If you refuse the immoral order, that will be courage. Huge courage. So when that happens, and the military will be called on to enforce that system, to implement that system, and eliminate anybody who doesn't go along with it, that may be done in a way where it seems like there's an external enemy there, right? That it won't be as simple. It won't be an announcement from the world government saying, okay, the system has to be now brought in. It has to be in by next week. It won't be like that. There will most likely be an external enemy there, or multiple sides of them. It might be 1 billion Muslims radicalized against the West. That might happen. They may be a real foreign combatant on U.S. soil. That might happen. But, figuratively speaking, their generals will be the same as your generals. Especially in this case, it will be the same people controlling this puppet show. And that's when you are given an immoral order to do anything to citizens, or just do anything that you know is wrong, like killing innocents, you're going to have to refuse that order. That's the critical moment of choice that is coming, right? And that's when your service will be needed the most. So I urge you to keep studying the world around you, right? Look into conspiracy. Look into whoever is claiming conspiracy in all aspects of life. You should look into it and decide for yourself what's true and what isn't. All these things that have come out that they were military operations in different countries, it all starts as a conspiracy. So find out for yourself, because you're brave enough and you're smart enough to see it on your own. You don't need government approved information. You can approve your own information. And most of all, just be honest with yourself, right, about whether or not what you're doing is right. If military men and women just do what is right, all this corruption and injustice and violence in this world, it'll collapse in this system. And then I won't even get into talking about what system we should have, libertarianism versus anarchy or anything like that. It doesn't matter what system we use. It doesn't matter what economic system we use. If we get the bad people exposed and out of the way, we're going to be fine. But all these tours and deployments, they're all in place to effectively take the people who would be heroes, who have the most bravery to act. They take you guys and they separate you from the general population. And that's the main goal. That's actually the main goal, believe it or not, because this ensures that if there ever is a rebellion type of thing, like an American Revolution type of thing, an armed conflict between the ruling class and the people, that ensures that the ruling class will win because they have the warriors on their side and we don't. See, we need you guys with us. America is here with us. A true soldier doesn't serve a ruler. A true soldier serves truth. And the armed forces are needed here with us, like in the homes, with their families, because this is where the real war is being waged. You see what they're teaching your children in the schools. You see what they're hitting your wives with through the internet and through the media. That's where the real war is, not over there. And the war is against the human spirit, mind, and body. Okay, so thank you very much. Get in touch with me. I'll drop my email. I thank you for watching the video, and I'll be back.